Welcome back to Time to Change. I'm Chasen Forehand.
And I'm Dom Jones.
And we're having discussions with people doing the work.
Yeah, and that work is a result of some deep lived experience, some knowledge, but ultimately a passion to see better humans and better workplaces.
I love that. And I can't wait to dive in.
Let's do it.
Welcome back to Time to Change. I'm Chasen Forehand.
And I'm Dom Jones.
And today in the house, Jackie Hallberg. We're so thrilled to have you in the house. Yes. I don't have my button today. I have to do it manually, but it's okay.
Old school.
Tech is great when it works properly. We had some fudge happen earlier, but now we're rolling. Jackie Hallberg is the owner of Home Reentry Services. She's the executive director of Mediation and Restorative Services. I can get all that out. She is a trip advisor and travel blogger with Tripping with Jax, and we're going to talk about that because I've lived in a lot of places, but she's seen a lot of places, so we're going to dive into that. She is the co-founder of Emotional Women with Melissa Houston, and tonight, people, at 9 p.m., well, actually, this is going to air on a Friday, but at 9 p.m. on Mondays, you need to catch Just Jax. So 9 p.m. Eastern time, I am going to be there to support her. I love the show. It's always fantastic. Last week, Desiree Goldie and I were on her show, and it was a really emotional show. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well, get into some emotional wellness. But man, so thrilled to have you in the house today. And the first thing, that I'd like to ask is, what prompted you? I have to start with the trip stuff. I've lived in 17 states and 42 cities in 60 years. You have traveled to is it every state? Have you been to every state?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What prompted you to I want to go visit every state?
So unlike you, I have not lived anywhere other than the entire same county in Michigan. I'm right over here under your pinky in the state of Michigan by Lake Michigan. Lived there my whole life. Even when I went away to college, I was back every weekend to work a job or two. So I traveled a little bit with my family, traveled a little with some friends, and then I got divorced, and I'm like, none of my friends have the same vacation time I do. My kids are older now. They don't have time to travel with mom. Do I just sit on the couch and watch videos all day long, or do I go visit the world? So I decided to start traveling, and I have traveled to all 50 states, 26 of them all by myself. And I have gotten the majority of those states done since 4 years, in the past 4 years. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I have been witness to some of that journey. I have seen you go to different places, and I'm like, how is this possible that we have not met? I'm like, it's going to happen.
Yes.
You're going to be somewhere close enough to where I will drive and I will come meet you. And, we're going to make this happen. But I am so stoked. I love that. We've been to a lot of places ourselves. Joe and I there's something magical about the art of just going and seeing. We will drive a lot of the way. I don't really love flying, but we will go drive in different directions depending on where we're living at the time, and go visit other states, other cities, and really see what's around. I think there's a lot of cool places in the U.S. that people just don't even know about, and a lot of cool hidden gems in these small, cool old towns. You have a few little streets and the couple of lights, and it's just like something out of a Norman Rockwell kind of thing. But it's cool. I love that. I love that.
And one of the reasons I do travel so much is because there's a lot of people in my town that are very poverty stricken, and Lake Michigan is literally a 15-minute drive anywhere from my county. And we have people that have never seen Lake Michigan. And if you've never seen Lake Michigan, it looks just like an ocean. And so when you can expand your neighborhood, get outside of what you see every day, diversity becomes so much more exciting and easier, and you see different progress and you see goals. And I try to let people that can't travel see travel through my eyes. I'm a very frugal traveler. I love to explore places that are free, even if they're in my own town or a neighboring town. And sometimes I think that just breaks down a lot of those barriers that people have, that, you're not from my neighborhood, you don't know what I've done, you don't look like me, you don't act like me. And being able to travel just really makes it so much easier.
Mm.
Oh, I absolutely love that, and I agree. And even for those who may be in a season where getting on an airplane, to your point, Jason, or that may not be feasible, but there's something powerful in even just getting up and going to the next county over, going to the next neighborhood over, just to expose yourself to new people, new ideas, new ways of living. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you touched on, where I was gonna go with this. I kind of imagined that part of it was that you see so much in the work that you do, that there has to be an outlet
Yeah.
that gives you a way to recharge your batteries, because you're working in restorative services and a lot with people that have been formerly incarcerated and are trying to rebuild their lives, and it's not easy. It's not an easy process. And so the work that you do has got to be very very cathartic, very exciting, but also very draining at the same time. And being able to get out, like you said, Lake Michigan, or going to all these different states and places that you've been, has got to be able to recharge those batteries to help you really be able to take care of your own wellness so you could take care of other people.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate you recognizing that, because I try really hard not to show people how difficult the work I do is, because I want there to be hope and excitement. But so many of the people I work with, whether they're kids, like I just got done doing a kid court group before this, and so many, I always ask the question, what do you see for yourself in the next 5 years? It doesn't have to be a list of goals, but what do you see for your life? And so many of them, whether they're kids or adults that have gotten involved in the court system, have no clue. They'll be like, I don't know. And your brain needs to have a focus. It needs to have something to look forward to, whether it's going to all 50 states, or whether it's graduating college, or whether it's, just surviving the night and having food in your belly tomorrow. Your brain has to have a focus that something better is happening. And so when I decided, I never thought I'd get to Hawaii. I always thought Hawaii was so expensive. There's no way I could get there. I mean, I'm a social worker, I work nonprofit, but it was during COVID. The airline tickets were like dirt cheap. And then I had a friend that lived out there that was gracious enough to house me out there, let me use their vehicle when they were at work. So it's like, okay, guys, I went to
Wow.
Hawaii, I can go anywhere now. So that became my goal, because I knew I wanted to travel and I was comfortable traveling alone, but I never thought I could afford certain things. But when you start getting your brain focused on, I have this plan, I have this I want to accomplish, doors start opening up. Your brain just starts not being as heavy all the time with all the stress and the anger and the ick that happens in life. And so I can't encourage people I work with to do that if I can't do it for myself. So I try to model a little bit of that, but I also let them know I'm a social worker. I should have never been able to afford going to Hawaii by myself, but I did. And maybe that's not something you want to do, but how can you work on knowing that you can accomplish certain things that you've always thought you wanted to do, or something that you were interested in? And it makes a difference in that mindset, man. And that's where we got the change that can actually happen.
Oh, yeah, I love that. So we've heard pieces and have gotten glimpses of your work, Jackie. But I love, for those who have not been exposed to your platform or who you are, can you just ground us in what type of work do you do, and who are some of the individuals that you serve?
Sure. So, in my day job, I am an executive director of an agency that works with crime and conflict. So, we do what's called mediation, we do restorative justice, and we do reentry work. So, we're working with people that have committed the crimes and the victims of those crimes, and we try to work to get mutual ways to repair the harm and to learn so it doesn't happen again. So we work a lot with people that have committed very basic crimes all the way up to very intense felony crimes that may not have ever been released from prison other than some law changes. So it is heavy, and it is all in my neighborhood, like in my community. So that is work I do specifically in West Michigan. However, my side business work, I also do consulting for that work. So I can work with court systems, prisons, jails, policymakers, social workers, different people, and I can do that anywhere outside of my work day job. And then with the work that I do with my traveling stuff, it was really aimed at helping people that either felt like they weren't safe traveling alone, or that they felt like they might be judged or marginalized when they traveled. I really wanted to encourage them to learn how to travel so they could get experiences. So I'm not a travel like where you would actually book their plane ticket, but it was able to give them kind of that safety net. How can you travel safely, and helping people with travel anxiety. And then also I've also done some travel groups where I've went traveling with people, so they were solo but yet they had me as their guide so that they weren't alone. And it's interesting when you talk about like something as simple as going to a new city or a new state or a new country. It's very similar to what some of my clients for work that are getting out of jail or prison go through, because am I going to be welcomed? Am I going to be accepted? Am I going to know the rules? Am I going to feel comfortable? Am I going to feel safe? Am I going to feel judged? So it's actually, it doesn't seem like they're similar, but there's so many similarities there. And then with the Emotional Women program that Melissa and I run, we actually do consultant work in terms of communication and doing some leadership work with not just women, but we're working with businesses and individuals that feel like they've always been either talked down to, or they felt like they were told. Because I mean, I've been in this kind of a position for a very long time, and I still face meetings with a lot of men that will tell me to tone it down or check my emotions, or, you're talking too much, you need to slow down. And I'm just like, if I get talked to like that today, what are other women or what are other people that can't use their voice or don't feel safe using their voice experiencing the workforce or in different businesses or agencies they're in? So we want to support people and remind us humans have emotions, and it's okay that we respond differently. Because Dom, you might respond differently than Chasen to something that I say, or something that one of your supervisors were to say, where I might be like, oh, that's so chill, that's not a big deal. So it's okay that we have different experiences. It's not okay to be treated unfairly or to be judged for that. So we want to make sure people are highlighted for that. So I do a lot. ADHD helps me do a lot. And the drive to want to change the world and make people happier is always on my mind. So some people are like, I'm so confused by what you do. And I'm like, just ask.
No, it's great. I like how there's tie-ins
Yeah.
to all of it too. That they shoot,
There are.
it does. It makes complete sense when you say it the way you just did. Because I mean, if even if it didn't make sense, it doesn't matter. It's what you do, and it's a cool thing. But it makes sense because you just you've looped these things together because they're things you're passionate about, and they're intertwined. I love. I've heard you now for a couple of years talk about the work you do, not only in social services but with the court systems, and I am so amazed by what you're able to do, because it is something that is super heavy, and it's heavy on my heart. That one of the things that we're working towards is to make sure that I get my pen so I can go into the federal system and talk to people. So you get the pen, you can go and actually in the prison system and actually give your story. And I want to talk to them about the journey and what we do at Transformation Kitchen, and so that they know when they come out, come find me. Come find me, because I want to talk to the places where we have a Transformation Kitchen or we're building one, and say, look, come find me, because I'm not going to be like other employers that are going to judge you. We're going to give you a home and a community and a place that you can thrive. That's how we break these systems of people going back to their old lives, having where they feel like I have nothing left. No one will hire me, no one will help me. And we've got to stop that. So I love what you're doing, and I appreciate so much all the work that you do to make that happen. I'm curious, in Michigan, do you find that the government itself and the court system is for all the work to try to keep people out of the system, meaning that they don't want people to cycle back in. They understand that it can be broken, and they see it, and they want to do everything they can to stop that cycle. Are you noticing that where you work? And I know that part of it, you said you work outside of Michigan, but I'm curious, in the places where you do work, are those places that are interested in breaking that cycle?
Yeah, so I am very fortunate in Michigan that I have seen so much progression. We have closed multiple prisons. Michigan used to be, if not, is still, we are usually one of the highest per capita prison states. So that means based on the amount of people that live in Michigan, we have just as much or more prisons than like the per capita in a bigger state or a state that has other
Wow.
prisons. And thankfully, we've closed quite a few. And my biggest issue with any kind of a government is the focus on what they call recidivism. And recidivism means committing another crime. And when that is the only focus, it becomes more of like a hardened, like somebody chasing people and making sure you're not making mistakes instead of lifting them up and saying, look at all these services. And you mentioned Transformation Kitchen being willing to be an employer for people that have incarceration histories. And so many times, their first thing that says on their parole orders is, you got to get a job. Well, guess what? Getting a job does not mean you're not going to commit another crime. Being employed by a place that cares about you as a human, that respects you, that realizes you're going to have to go check in with all these people and you got to do drug drops and you've got to live in this certain area and all this kind of stuff, actually caring about them as a unique human and not just, oh, you're one of all these people that just got out of prison or jail that need a job, that makes a difference. And so seeing small baby steps instead of just being like, say somebody that did a pretty significant crime gets out, and if they had no services in prison, they may not even realize that some little things they're doing when they get back could be considered enough of a violation to go back to prison. Well, that affects recidivism and they are crossed off the list as being successful, when maybe if somebody took the time to educate them and show them other opportunities, we wouldn't have them committing those crimes. But if it's a minor baby thing and they're learning from it, totally different. So I have those kind of issues. And I think that's not going to be something that's going to be changed overnight. Again, depending on different states have different attitudes on reentry and services. And some people just want to lock humans away for the rest of their life. But I will say till my dying breath, not one human is the result of the worst decision they ever made. Everybody can change to some capacity if they have the support and they have the opportunity that so many people don't get, whether it's mental health or medical health, taking care of things, whether it's supportive networks, and whether it's people that are chasing them versus supporting them. And that makes a big difference. And so, I could literally talk about this nonstop for days and days and days, but I can say that my community right now is amazing. We have a lot of opportunities for people. We run the only program in the state of Michigan, possibly the United States, that actually has those that are currently in jail sentenced for a felony conviction that get to do day programming. They get to leave the jail, come to our office, do day programming, go back at the end of the day. Usually it's for baby crimes if they ever get work released. This is actually programming. It's very intensive and it's all well-rounded. We do things like they learn CPR and first aid. They learn things through a college. They learn through recovery. They do parenting. They do anger management. They do life skills. We actually get to do family events where their family gets to see them outside of their jail clothes, outside of the jail walls. They get to break bread with them. And that's how we make change, is normalizing people as humans instead of just a number or just somebody that is a criminal.
You're right. You have a very unique vantage point into this dynamic of individuals navigating the justice system,
Yeah.
um, gaining exposure to not just what they've done, but how they're thinking.
Yeah.
But also, from what you share, you're engaging with individuals who may have been impacted by
Mhm.
what they do as well.
Yeah.
based on that view, what would you say, Jackie, is one of the greatest misconceptions that society has around individuals who commit crime?
Well, they like to say the them or they. And guys, we are way more closer related to every single human than we are different than them. So just because you may not know somebody that's made a criminal decision or been put to jail or prison, you don't know tomorrow if you're going to make a decision that you are on that other end, or your brother is on that other end, or your daughter is going there. And so if we can get rid of saying it's only these kind of people that commit crimes, or we judge people that look a certain way or have had a certain background or grew up in a certain city or community, and we start normalizing that it's a literal human decision. And so many people that are in prison are some of the most intelligent humans out there. Some of the people in prison literally are in there for survival. They only needed to survive. That's why they committed a crime. Now, there are some people that are in prison because they were absolutely deliberate and there was some different intentions and some different mindset issues. But the vast majority of people that are sitting in our prison should not be in our prison systems. And it is a money thing in many states. It is a way to put certain people in their place. And that's a whole different discussion, guys. So I won't digress
Wow.
into that, but
Yeah.
it is something that if we could just normalize, they're still a human. They might be a father, they might be a mother, they might be a daughter, they might be a wife or a husband that just got incarcerated, and it's going to impact their entire family. Then we can normalize, wow, that's really a person and not just a monster that did this or somebody that thought it was okay to get away with that.
Wow, that's so powerful. If I can, I want to be mindful of time, but what you just said is so important, and I actually have a real time story that just happened today that connects to what you just mentioned. My wife actually took our four boys out of the house, God bless her, so I could get some work done. And they were at a store and actually realized, in hindsight, that they witnessed someone shoplifting.
Hmm.
And the way they realized that is they actually, as they left the store, this individual they saw police cars chasing them down,
Mhm.
pulled them over. And when they saw the individual getting out of the car, they realized, oh man, they were just like next to us in line at the store.
Yeah.
So proximate. But as they came home, they're small kids, so it's the
Mhm.
good people, bad people kind of conversation. They stole, so they're a bad person. But what it does was opened up an opportunity to have a conversation around what do you think that person may have been going through that made them feel like they had to steal?
I love that. I
You
love
know,
that.
it's such a powerful mindset shift. To your point, we're one bad circumstance or decision
Yeah.
away from being in a similar position as someone else. So I appreciate that healthy reminder.
I'm so glad to hear that. One of the things that really impact me in this work I do is that there are so many parents that don't think their babies are ever going to make a bad decision or that they're
Mm.
ever going to have a bad day or they're ever going to hang around with a naughty kid. They always think their babies are going to be so perfect. And when you don't have those discussions, it's easier for them to make a bad decision because it's all, especially shoplifting, is so much a crime of opportunity. And so
Yeah.
if they're willing to break that law, what's going to happen down the road, because so many parents don't know how to talk to their kids, and some spouses don't know how to talk to their partners when they've realized they made a criminal decision. And so that communication breaks down and then the whole family disrupts, and it cycles out and out and out. And so the more we can talk about things like that, the easier it is for kids to come up to dad or mom or to the teacher and say, that person didn't make me feel safe, or that person was trying to get me to do this. What do I do? Because I don't know if I'm supposed to do that. I've seen a lot of youth over the years in the kind of crimes that are happening now. Some are the same that have happened all along, but so many are so much more intense. We never had people threatening to shoot schools and to do some just horrific things to their own family. And there's so much different work that needs to be done, that if we can normalize talking to kids about the tough situations they're going to see as they get older, the easier it is for them to look for help and less chances they're going to get caught up in the icky stuff.
You hit on something which is a great segue because I, t- I have been talking more and more about this to younger generations, especially on some of the groups that I'm in. I'm in a men's group where most of the guys are considerably younger, 20 plus years younger than me. And not everybody, but David Landis was on the show recently, and Dom and I got to talk to him. We dropped it this last Friday, and it was super impactful. And he's a couple of years older than me, but watching what the younger generations are going through, because there wasn't social media when I was growing up. We didn't have to deal with the cyberbullying and all the, you know, there were still problems with mental wellness. There were still things that happened, and there were still cliques, and you know, being the cool kid, and we kind of laugh and joke about that. But there were still things that happened along the way because we didn't know what to do with people that were neurodiverse in one way or shape, form, or another. And we punished those people for being loud and aggressive or talking out or being a class clown or whatever when they didn't know how to act. Now I feel like we're in such a crisis mode. And so there are everyone from youth up that are dealing with so many different things, and fathers like Dom having to deal with so much thrown at them and their kids, and having to have those discussions early on. I mean, talk about how that impacts your work, what you're seeing in the world today, and how it, you know, like you just mentioned with, you know, school shootings and stuff like that. That's someone, for the most part, in my mind, that is got some broken pieces inside and is asking for help, and wants, you know, it doesn't really want to harm people, but really wants people to know I'm lost. I feel isolated. I don't feel right about myself, and no one's here to help me.
It's a confusing world. It is a confusing world for us as adults. So our kids are even more confused by everything that's going on in the world. But there is hope, guys. There are great opportunities. There are great nonprofits that are out there helping people. And we have to keep that hope. And I love you talking to younger people, because so many people are like, oh, they don't understand, or oh, he's too old, she's too young, whatever. No, guys, we're all in this together. We are all, regardless of age or race or experiences, we have to work together in different capacities to see this change and to help our youth, which will ultimately help our adults. We help our adults, it ultimately helps the youth. So we've got to do it all full circle together.
I love that. Absolutely love that. Well, I want to make sure that we touch on this again. I know we said it earlier, but right above Jackie's left shoulder, you scan that QR code. Yes, there we go. You scan that QR code and you will go to her Just Jax show. I absolutely love the show. It airs LinkedIn Live. Are you also on YouTube? Does
Yep.
it go to YouTube and LinkedIn?
Yep.
And it is at 9 p.m. Eastern time on Monday nights. Absolutely fabulous. She has this cool way where she'll bring on a couple of guests. She kind of splits it up. So there'll be one guest in the first half and another guest in the second half. And she always talks about some coolly stuff. Absolutely honored to be on last week, especially with Desiree. I could not cheer. I know you kept making, I didn't know you could see me, but I'm like, I love Desiree. I am like clapping for her.
Mm-hmm. You guys were great, and I appreciate it. Dom, when they were on, it was just a couple days after my son's accident, and I was a mess, and they were such great guests. But Jason, don't you think Dom might need to be a guest on Just Jax?
Yes.
I think we need to. Yeah.
Look out.
And my whole platform is getting diverse people of all backgrounds and experiences. You don't have to own a business or volunteer, whatever you want to talk about. Every human's important. And then we also talk about some of those tough topics, because, you know, if we don't talk about them, other people can't normalize them. So I would love you to be a guest sometime, Dom. And any viewers that are watching, if you're interested, you can also follow my YouTube page, which is my name that you can see under the screen there, Jackie Hallberg, LMSW. You can go back and see other episodes and see if it's something you want to be a guest on, because diversity is the way we conquer this world, guys.
We will have all of your links when this airs. We will have it out early, and then we'll really shout it out on Funky Friday too. But when we put this out, we will make sure to have all the links to everything you do. And So thrilled to have you in the house today. Oh my goodness, we're going to give it up one more time for Jackie Hallberg in the house. Oh my goodness. I really appreciate you being here. Love what you're doing, love your shows, and love the work that you're doing to try to make the world a better place. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Oh my goodness, you have been in the house with Jackie Hallberg. I am Chasen Forehand.
And I'm Dom Jones.
And we will catch you next time on Time to Change.